Well, welcome to the new age of super bugs. And by super bugs, I mean super bugs that are resistant to all kinds of antibiotics. And what are you going to do about that? You know, this is not actually a fear video. It's being acknowledged in the major media. It's something that they say is on the horizon. There's new things that are coming out that are resistant to everything out there, even STDs. You know, like they have the HIV STD. They also have uh, antibiotic resistant syphilis and gonorrhea. But, you know, also there's other things on the horizon with MERS, Ebola, and Bill Gates, you know, wonderful Bill Gates, right? He's hinting about, oh, he fears that there's going to be a new plague that's going to hit humanity. He has such fears of it, you know, so vaccinate everybody, you know, whatever he's pulling over there. But anyway, you know, in the past, people have always thought that, hey, you know, we got penicillin, you know, when that first came out, hey, it cures everything. Now, I want to actually make a point about something else here because I know invariably people are going to mention about colloidal silver, which I think is great. But, you know, colloidal silver has been around a long time, and silver salts and everything else in the 20s. And it does do a lot, but you know what? It really wasn't. It's a cure for something that's topical. It doesn't always knock out everything that's in the body. But what they've been finding out, well, I'll get on to that. There's other things you could probably. There's probably really two things you could probably do in general. There's one thing I think that could work in a situation where that you could take as a supplement in mega quantities. I know it's controversial. You know, it's along the fields of orthomolecular medicine. I'm getting at something here, but you know, other things though are common sense because I could tell you that antibiotics is not the main reason humanity has conquered all these diseases, and it's definitely not vaccinations. It's the reason that humanity has lessened or conquered so many of these diseases that were rampant in the past. It really has been a victory of sanitation. We got running water, we got toilets that flush, and you know there's no outhouses and things like that. People take showers every day or more, once a day or more, on average. Before it was maybe every 2 weeks or a month or whatever. I don't know, you know, and it'd be people would be dirtier before, and they have all kinds of germs on them, and it would cause them to get sicker a lot easier and that type of stuff. So sanitation is actually another one thing. Now, there's a couple common sense things you can do. You know, when you're out in the public, that could be a good thing. We're using the colloidal silver because maybe it's topical. You know, if you're in doubt something's got germs on it, maybe you can have some colloidal silver, wipe it off or something. I know that's one of the problems that people have if there's going to be some kind of epidemic spreading throughout the nation or something. They're kind of hinting at this. I don't know if this is just a fear tactic or what, but you know, the way I'm looking at it is I like to be prepared for contingencies, and I'm getting at something here because I kind of related to this before, but I don't know, when the major media is talking about new types of bugs, super bugs out there, that, and they're not BSing around it just to scare people. There is stuff coming up that there's super bugs that are resistant to all kinds of antibiotics, and I really keyed in on what Bill Gates said because he's like an insider, and I don't trust that guy. You know, when he's telling you he fears something about super bugs knocking out millions of people and killing them, I almost think, you know, that's what they held. That's what what they want to do. I don't know. Maybe I got a conspiratorial mind. I don't know, but whatever. But you know, if you have colloidal silver to wipe off, you know, areas that you touch or something, that would work. You know, I don't know how well that's going to work in the body. It could, but it doesn't. Beware of the exaggerations on the internet. Now, one thing that actually is not an exaggeration, if you take it in major doses, is vitamin C. I know that would be my method, my first aid emergency method, if there's nothing else could work for any kind of super bugs or anything like that. It'd be mega doses of vitamin C. I'm talking about tens of thousands of milligrams of it, not just a couple, not just, I mean, you're talking like hundreds of times the recommended daily allowance. And I would be taking the sodium exorbate type, which is buffered, yet it doesn't have the calcium exorbate where you can actually build up too much calcium in your body. And exorbic acid is fine, but then again, that's the one that can kind of create more problems because of the pH level. So, like, if you're taking it orally, probably the best one, which is not the easiest one to find, is this sodium exorbate. But anyway, that's what I would do. And since it pretty much is an absolute antiviral, antimicrobial, antitoxin, blah, 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 if you're taking enough of it, I think that's a good strategy, But then again, there's other things out there you can do. If you take an exorbic acid, it's got 2 electrons you can donate. With the residual thing that's left after it donates the 2 electrons is not harmful to the body. A lot of times, antioxidants that after they donate their electrons, this has 2 electrons with exorbic acid. After most antioxidants, after they donate their electron, their 1 electron, not 2, what's left over is actually not too good for the body. It depends on what, there's so many different antioxidants out there. In the case of vitamin C, it's inert. It doesn't hurt because somehow it just falls in upon itself chemically, and it's not harmful to the body at all. And then you can recycle it if you have other things in the body that are available. It could actually turn back into vitamin C. But the other thing I like about it too, it's like it could be for longevity, health, youth and vitality. I mentioned this before. Allegedly, some scientists say that if we used to be able to produce vitamin C in our body, if we had that capability again through some kind of special gene therapy, they theorize we'd be living hundreds of years old and we'd be young the whole time. Be like freaking some crap you'd see on the movies, man. So I take a lot of it. I figured, hey, that's a cool idea. Now, the other thing I think I would do, and I think this is even more controversial than vitamin C, but just to give you an idea about vitamin C, it took them I forgot what it was. I think it was like 80 years before the British Navy adopted the vitamin C with the lime. That's what they call the sailors' limeys, to eliminate the problem with scurvy. Even though they knew it was causing scurvy, it took them 80 years. Then I think it took over 100-something years after that with the Merchant Marine. That was the British Navy. They lost tens of thousands of people. I don't know what the hell's the matter with the medical community, man. Even if you've hit them over the head with the evidence, they don't want to hear it. I know this is going to be really, but let's give you an example. So if you think I'm presenting snake oil, I'm going to try to tell you I'm not, but I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you a couple links on a video I did about how the frequencies were derived by John Crane, and I'm going to give you another video, not a video, but it basically not my work, but a link to something that explains to you about the harmonics of the frequencies, because it gets really technical, and I don't want people to get. Let me just put it this way: I think these frequencies work in these devices. That there's the type of theory out there, if you want to. I don't even want to call it a theory, but then again, I can't make claims on it. But basically, there's a whole another body of researchers out there that actually use frequencies to shatter microbes. Now, that would be my method, because if you got the right frequencies and you got a device that produces a lot of different frequencies, like this Parazapper My Plus does, 122 accurate frequencies, I think that would be the way to go. I mean, you want to, because I don't think any microbe is going to be, with all those frequencies, I don't think any microbe will be able to resist it. I think but the other thing is it's on positive offset, and positive offset, that value, the way that's set up, according to Holder Clark, just even having it positive offset, that alone is enough to kill any microbe, and at the same time, supercharge your white blood cells in your immune system. So, but I know this product was very good because it's the only one that was able to demonstrate in a water filled with all kinds of bacteriums and microbes and funky stuff. You know, he zapped it for 2 times for an hour each, and used the multi-frequency device of the Parazapper. I don't know what he used, the MX mode. I don't know which one he used, but it wasn't even the best. There's stuff out today that would even, the stuff he makes today would work even better than this. But basically, it just killed all the bad microbes in the water. Yeah, at the same time, it's supposedly, at least let me give it to you according to Holder Clark, the positive offset will not only will kill the bad microbes, and then the multi-frequency will kill the bad microbes. But at the same time, you'll supercharge the white blood cells. I don't want to make any claims on this, but that's how the freaking researchers say it works. Okay, but I'll give you a couple of the links that you can read one, and I've done my video on how Crane come up with these frequencies, because I know there's people out there that are going to be just, I mean, if you hit them over the head with the evidence, they still wouldn't disagree with you. So it's like, forget it. I'm not really trying to. Well, let me put it this way. This is what I'm going to do, man. If there's freaking a problem out there, and it's like you got these super bugs that are resistant to all kinds of antibiotics. Hey, I got my freaking Parazappers, the accurate ones. I got a My and a My Plus. I'm using them. That's what I'm doing. This kid wants to be around a long time, Actually, I was researching my family. I got 2 people in the Revolutionary War. One's a major revolution. Man, I don't even want to get into that shit. But, hey, man, I want to be living to be like 500 years old if I can. So, anyway. Anyway, this would be one thing. If I had 2 main strategies against all the bad critters out there that, I don't know where the hell they're coming from, man. I mean, I know even back in what do you call that? The Spanish influenza, that the outbreak, especially in World War I, and sometimes it would kill people in 24 hours. I think a lot of that was due to sanitary conditions, too. But, if you got bad sanitary conditions and it's there and it's on you, it can kill you in 24 hours. And I knew if I was really feeling bad and something was going on, say I didn't have enough vitamin C or wasn't available, I hope I got a Parazapper available. To me, it's a latch-stitch try, so, I wouldn't want to test the effectiveness of it. I hope I never get sick, but then again, this is what I have for emergency stuff, and, I look at it like those 2 things probably, in my humble opinion, are, and I know there's a lot of other stuff out there. I mean, you can talk about coconut oil and how it freaking works against every kind of viri and bacteria by dissolving the lipid cell wall of any virus because it's 47% lauric acid. I know you can say that, and there's other things out there with the colloidal silver, vitamin D in larger quantities can help boost the immune system, but I don't know, bang for the buck and easy to get and the most effective out there, probably the vitamin C, but you got to take a lot of it. But then again, I almost hate freaking talking about the electronic methods because, well, let me put it this way. I think they work. I mean, they got the Spooky 2 method, which might work. But then again, I don't know if you got it. If you got hit with something that is going to kill you in 2 days flat, I don't know if the Spooky 2 remote method would work fast enough, because supposedly, according to the theory, I can't really tell you if this is an accurate statement or not, but they tell you it takes about 15 to 20 times longer for it to work than the contact method. I'd rather go with the contact method. And then again, if you're out in the middle of nowhere and you don't have a computer, or it's just a pain in the neck to have the contact method around with a plug in the wall generator and all that type of stuff, and a computer, you want this. You want a portable frequency generator that generates 122 accurate frequencies. And I think he's going to keep improving these products. They're probably going to get better and better. By the time you watch this, I talk about 122 accurate frequencies. He's probably going to have more in here. I don't know what he's going to have, but That would be my bet. That would be my bet right there. You know, I mean, that plus the vitamin C combined, I would hope that would work like crazy. So, if you got these super bugs out there and they're all trying to kill us, and maybe it's a secret plot by some big multi-billionaire that theorizes. Did you hear about these people, these big multi-billionaires? They talk about, hey, we want everybody on the earth to die. We don't need a population over. You know who I'm talking about, right? One of the big movie moguls that puts all the reruns and the westerns out there and stuff. He says, hey, man, and this is also hinted with the Georgia Guidestones about, the first one saying that humanity should be under 500 million in harmony with nature, whatever the hell they're talking about. Some, I don't know. These guys on the top got some really nefarious plans, and the other thing is, it's common sense is just good sanitation, but then again, you don't know. I mean, good sanitation might be also putting colloidal silver in the water and then washing with that, which will take care of all the germs in your body. And maybe sunlight too. Sunlight, the UV light, is actually something that could sterilize even clothing and any microbes that are on your skin, and it'll produce the vitamin C in your body. The vitamin D in your body, which actually turns on your immune system and boosts your immune system also. And it may do a lot of other things that they don't understand in science. I know, like, they also say that the closer you are to the equator, the less problems with, multiple sclerosis, diabetes, cancer, heart attacks, and everything else that's bad. And the further away you get away from the equator, the more problems you have with various types of diseases, you name it, anything there is, right? But part of that, it may not just be because of the vitamin D production. I think that's one major component of it. But then again, there's probably a lot of stuff that's plain sunlight does that we don't understand yet, and the science will figure it out later on. But in the meantime, I think sunlight for maybe 20 minutes a day or something over most of your body would be the better thing to do, even more than just taking a supplement called vitamin D. Common sense, don't overdo it, but as long as you get some sunlight every day. So, anyway, that's what I'm going to present here for, because I think they're hinting at this is going to be a major problem. And what actually scares me, and I'm not like scared about it, but I just realized that it might be a potential problem when the elite bastards are talking about reducing the population of the earth, and there's too many people on this earth. I tend to think they're going to pull something and try to cause some kind of genocidal plague. So if there is ever something like that, and they don't have an answer for it, like where the government or the medical community can't figure out how the hell to stop it, well, I'm going to try to stop it with good sanitation, colloidal silver, sunlight, and the two big mainstays, vitamin C in mega doses, and also my Parazapper My Plus. That's what I'll do. I don't know if you want to do that, but that's what I'll do.